in the low 60s. With your CBSN Pittsburgh weather forecast, I'm meteorologist Mary Hours.
Pennsylvania's Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman joins us to explain what's being done on the state level. So, health and safety of people here in Pennsylvania is of the utmost concern. We know that. But what does this look like on the other side of all of this? I mean, this affects a lot of business.
Sure, it's absolutely. What I would say is that the governor is committed to Pennsylvanian safety and making sure you know what he knows. And I would encourage everybody to follow their social media accounts. I actively retweet the governor. They give out updates constantly in terms of the number of cases, other closures. The governor announced a travel ban for government employees last evening, internationally and both domestically. So they're actively monitoring the situation. And I think the governor has the perfect balance between keeping Pennsylvanians informed without kind of giving over to general chaos and panic, and just making sure people do live their lives with the understanding that the bias is trending towards postponing and canceling and closures. And that kind of temporary inconvenience, I think, will lead to a much greater reduction in any kind of potential spread here in Pennsylvania. This is a new era for everybody. You know, the NBA just postponed their season. You have individuals like Tom Hanks coming down with it, and that kind of brings it home, given that,
I think a lot of the panic seems to be coming because of the unknown, and even being at the top level here in the state, you all still don't know either. I mean, this is something that health officials and state officials are still trying to figure out.
Well, absolutely, but there are examples that are being monitored, whether it was in China or whether in Italy. And what I can say is that Dr. Levine is in constant contact with the CDC and other national experts. And the governor is constantly making sure that Pennsylvanians know and have the latest, most up-to-date information possible to make the best decisions for themselves and their families.
Decisions have been made locally at this point. Is there any talk about Pennsylvania coming in and making a statewide declaration as to what school districts should do or what businesses should do? You know,
it's an ongoing situation, and I just would ask everybody to be more patient, because we really are in all this together. And since this is really kind of unprecedented, to understand that they're going to be, yelling at the mayor, for example, on Twitter because the St. Patrick's Day parade is closed, it's not helpful. I mean, that's the right call to make. And the inconvenience you may experience now is going to be very helpful in making sure this doesn't spread.
Rick and I were talking about this ripple down effect, though, because of some of these closures or postponements, hotels and restaurants, even looking at some of the colleges and some of the trips that were planned. How are you guys handling that at the state level?
Yeah, there's any number of bills that are being proposed to make sure that workers that are not necessarily receiving sick time be able to receive some kind of assistance. And all that is going to have to get through the legislature to determine what kind of aid and assistance.
So abundance of caution is a phrase that we're hearing a lot of.
Yeah, and another thing is flattening the curve. Yep. That's a phrase you're going to start seeing more and more on. It could, because some people understandably might be like, well, why are we canceling like the St. Patrick's Day parade? And I just tweeted out on my social media this idea of flattening the curve, that the abundance of caution by canceling an event now will help diminish the severity of any future outbreak. And it's just reinforcing to people that the bias clearly seems to be heading towards postponement, cancellations, and restrictions, and just reminding everybody that we're in this together, and we are looking from a public health standpoint to flatten that curve.
Both of us are in professions where we get to hear from a lot of different sides of things. And I do hear both sides of this. Some people are saying it seems like we're being overcautious or over-exaggerating what's happening. And other people who are saying we need to be this way.
And I think we're walking the line in terms of a balance of both of them.
Right.
No one's suggesting that we need to panic and hoard supplies and anything. But we are saying is that out of an abundance of caution, in order to flatten that curve, we are taking preemptive steps across Pennsylvania. And I would encourage everybody to follow Governor Wolf and his office on social media, because he will make sure you know what they know, and every latest update is posted instantly online.
You mentioned about events being canceled, and so what kind of an impact does this have on businesses? Because you know, if you have conventions here or events here, the businesses, hotels, restaurants, things like that are affected by that.
It's unprecedented. You have students, thousands of students across Pennsylvania being sent home. You have conferences being canceled. You have sporting events being canceled. The impact is going to be significant. We know that already. But it's not helpful to buy up all the toilet paper in your local store and all these other things. And I would remind people that the steps you take may not be to protect your health, but a more vulnerable member of our community, particularly the elderly. So if you're not worried about your own health or circumstances, worry about your neighbor that may not be in as fortunate situation as you are.
Especially since we're hearing that these symptoms don't show up right away.
Exactly.
So you don't know if you may have been exposed, how long that could carry on.
Yeah.
All right, so coming up April 28th, we have our primary. Are there any kind of precautions that are being done on the state level to ensure that things are kept safe at polling locations?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be additional cleaning protocols and safety there. But another important thing is that you can actually register and vote by mail now. You can register to vote online. You can mail in your vote this for the first time ever in Pennsylvania. Again, a great reform instituted by Governor Wolf just recently. So if this virus outbreak is continuing until April, I would encourage everybody to vote regardless, of course, but you have that option now in Pennsylvania of mailing in your ballot.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor, for joining us. And stay with KDKA for everything you need to know about the coronavirus. In the meantime, you can head over to KDKA.com where we're updating stories around the clock. You can also watch our reports anytime on CBSN, found right on our homepage. This is Ron, Mikey, and